What's up, everyone? Brett Okamoto from ESPN, joined today by UFC welterweight Belal Muhammad, who I was looking forward to speaking to this week, regardless of what happened on Saturday. But I didn't think we'd be talking about, a no contest and a trip to the hospital. But first things first, Belal, thank you for taking the time to speak with us. And how is the eye? How are you feeling here on a Tuesday?
Uh, the eye's getting better. Like the swelling's going down. Uh, vision's starting to come back a little bit better now. So I'm like, thankfully it was like no damage to the retina or cornea or anything. But like, um, now it's just more so just like upset about just like how the whole thing ended and then how like the fight ended. Just like mentally, because you're sitting there, you go into a fight and win or lose, like you want to fight, you want to like finish the whole thing off, and like I put a training camp in, I put the work in, and I had a lot of aspirations for this fight. I win this fight, it's huge. Like I'm right there for a title shot or next in line or number one contender spot. So like just the way it ended, man, it just like hurt so much.
Have you been poked in the eye much over the course of your career, whether it's in training or in a fight?
Literally the Diego Lima fight, he poked me twice, and like the second one I got like super mad because even now when I train, I've gotten poked where I've had to get laser done on my eye because uh the poke was so bad because it's so small. So now like if I don't even train with anybody who literally puts their fingers up, they see it, put their fingers up like, yo, move around, go to somebody else. It's like it's so dangerous, and it's like you see guys like Bisbing and stuff like that, and you're afraid for that type of thing. Like I don't care about a broken hand, I don't care about a broken foot or something like that, but like losing vision or something like that's like the scariest thing that could happen for me. And just because I've experienced some things like that where eye poked has gone bad, and you see guys like coach of the Greg Jackson's Winklejohn where he lost his freaking whole eyeball because a toe went in his eye, and I'm like, you think about those things, and literally in that moment, I literally thought I was blind because I'm sitting there, I was like moving around, I couldn't see absolutely nothing, and I'm like, dude, am I blind? Please don't tell me I'm blind right now. Uh, because at that moment I literally thought I was blind. I was like moving my eye around. I'm like doing this, and I was like, I can literally cannot see out of there. I'm like, what the heck is happening right now?
Yeah, I mean, it was hard for all of us to watch. The emotions that you had as it was kind of playing out. Was it more about what you just said that you were worried about your health, or was it more because once they told you the fight was over, then of course you were super frustrated about that. I mean, can you just kind of walk us through like as it was unfolding? Were you more concerned over your health or the fight ending? Like, what were you?
Honestly, like I wasn't even worried about the health, but honestly, it was more so that I knew the fight was gonna end right there, and I knew that like literally I didn't even get started. Where it was like I said, where I worked so hard to get to this moment, and like even though like it happened all on this whim, it happened on a 3 week notice fight. It was a short notice fight. I took it, but it was still like a story where it's like I believed I belonged there, and I believed that this would be my story where I win this fight and I'm right there where I belong in the top five, fighting for the title next. And it's like I felt like everything was happening the right way. Whereas like my first main event, I felt comfortable in the spotlight. I felt good with the extra media and stuff like that and things like that. I felt like I belonged there. I didn't feel like overwhelmed by anything in that moment. And I just even in the back, I felt comfortable. Even after that first round, I felt comfortable. Like there was no panic in our corner or anything like that. We knew what we were trying to do. We knew what the game plan was, but it was more so that like literally when I move my eye around, I can't see, and I'm like, I know they're about to stop this fight. I know this fight's over, and I'm like, why the hell would this happen like this? Like you think of a million ways of how a fight could end. You think of a million ways of how you get your hand raised. Before the fight, you're thinking of you try to picture it in your head of like what's gonna happen. And like I said, like I'll think of bad ways too of how I would lose a fight or how the fight could go wrong. But it's like I would never think that I would even get past this freaking second round.
Hmm. Hmm. And like you said, you did look comfortable all week, man. I mean, I even said you and I spoke, and I loved where your mindset was. I mean, I think a lot of people did. You really kind of, I think that the MMA world, whether they wanted you to win or lose or however they felt about Leon, they were kind of behind you because of just the way you stepped up and the way you were approaching the fight. You did look emotional as you walked out to the octagon, though. Do you recall anything about that? I even mentioned it as I was watching it that night. I was like, man, Bilal looks really emotional, almost like you. I wouldn't say you were going to cry, but almost like it was kind of like that. Did
Yeah,
you feel pretty emotional walking to the octagon?
it was like it was more so. Um, where like I knew how much this moment meant for me. Like literally to be in a main event, to have my song, to have my flag raised behind me, and I know that people would see it all. And yeah, it was like one of those moments where it's like it's here, it's finally here. And like you said, I was like nothing where it was like crazy emotion, but it was like, like it was like one of those where it's like, man, it's finally here. So like I'm blessed. Like I can't believe that we're here now. So yeah, it was like I said, it was an amazing moment to be at that point, to get at that to get that main event spot, man. And yeah, I was just literally like it was like one of those where I didn't want to get too hyped up. That's where my coaches were like, we're not getting emotion, we're not getting hyped up, we're not getting don't overdo it right now. We got to relax. And that's what usually Lewis Taylor is usually there for that. And because I'm one of those guys where I feel like I have to like punch a wall in the back to hype myself up, to let myself know. And he'll be like, dude, hey, we're here to have fun. We trained, we did this, we did that, and like I'll look him in the eye and like we'll know there's that calm moment. But yeah, it was just honestly, it was like just a surreal moment just to be there.
How about pre-fight, and we'll get to what Leon said after the fight, but before the fight, I mean, you guys had a pretty heated, I don't even know if heated is the right word, but a pretty intense stare down the day before, and was that just completely from a competitive standpoint, or did you feel like there was like a personal tension as the fight got closer? Because that stare down kind of surprised me, frankly, is that how sort of like there was an edginess to it. What was the feeling like before the fight?
For me, I mean, I'm gonna go into every fight with that type of stare down. I usually had those type of stare downs because I'm gonna fight you the next day, so I don't want to come in there thinking that we're friends. So like, if I'm gonna go in there shaking your hand and stuff like that, it's gonna give me a different mentality. So like, I have to go in there, I have to flip a switch when you're in my face and we're in that face. After the fight, we could shake hands, we could be boys or whatever like that. But like before the fight, I have a mentality of I'm gonna hit you, you're gonna hit me. You're trained to embarrass me on TV, so I'm not gonna be your friend. I'm not gonna be lovey-dovey with you.
And then you did get poked in the first round, and then obviously then the fight ended in the second round. Did you feel like he was doing something that was making that a high potential risk? And do you feel like at the end of the day he was held accountable for it? Do you think that are you content with this fight being a no contest? I mean, are you content with the way with the decision of the fight, I guess, and how the result went?
Man, honestly, literally, we train for this because we know that he likes to keep the distance, and we know that he puts his palm out there. And we literally told Herb Dean in the back before the fight, and I'm trying to get video from UFC Destin because they were in the back recording the warm up and everything. Because we told him like, hey, we're gonna be trying to get in on him. He puts his hand out a lot. Please watch his fingers. And Herb's like, yeah, no, I'm gonna watch his fingers. If he puts his hands out like this, I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna pay attention to it. So like we were literally expecting that already. And we knew that it would come to something like that may come up. And after that first poke, I was like thinking about it already. But like the whole time, like you literally saw him like keeping his palm out there, trying to play with my hand. I mean, like I said, it happens in fights, and I wouldn't want to win like that anyway. I wouldn't want to fight like that, but I feel like the fact that he did do it like that and the way that it ended like that, I feel like I earned a rematch, just because of that. And from a fighter standpoint, from him, out of like respect, I would give that rematch just because it's not like I did anything to him. I took the fight on short notice, and the fight got no contest because of him. Everything was on his side.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, and I want to follow up on something you just said, because I do want to put you a little bit on the spot, because I believe you when you say that you would give him a rematch, and I think that you're doing the right thing, and I can appreciate and understand why you're campaigning for a rematch. But at the same time, if you were truly in his spot, and you had guys up in the top five not say yes to you, which you're familiar with, you've had trouble getting the big fight. And then to kind of say, all right, I'll fight anybody. And then, of course, it goes the way in which it did. And it's unfortunate. But I also can see it from his point of view that he's like, okay, I feel bad about what happened, but I still want a top five opponent. Do you think it's just as a competitor, as a man, you wouldn't do that? Or do you feel like in his spot that kind of stuff would come into your head?
Literally, like I'll put it this way: if Dana White just already put it out there, hey, if you beat Belal Muhammad, you get a title shot. the title shot's already booked right now with Masvidal and Usman. So why wouldn't you want to take this fight if you think you're so much far ahead of me and you felt like, oh, since I won the first round, all the other rounds are going to be that way. All right, well, come and get this easy paycheck and fight me, beat me, and then you're going to get the title shot anyway, right? If that's the mindset, if that Dana White already said that, like he already put that out there that you beat Belal, you're going to get a title shot. So why not come and beat me? If why take another chance against somebody else, Kobe or anybody like that, when I'm such an easy fight? But like from what you just said, what I would do, like I said, out of respect and like for a guy to take a fight on 3 weeks notice to give me an opportunity to fight him, and then he took the fight when nobody else would take the fight, and I literally poked him twice in the eye. I'm gonna give him that rematch. Like it wasn't a story beforehand. It wasn't meant to happen like that, but we're here now, and I feel like it should be that. Like that should be the case now, because like you said, it wasn't one of those where it's like, well, I beat number 6, now I'm going against number 3. But hey, opportunity knocked. I answered the call, and you took that call away from me for doing something illegal. It wasn't like it was like something crazy. The power went out, and we couldn't fight because of that. No, you poked me in the freaking eye, and it's like it's like it was something crazy, because you could train yourself not to do that. Like literally in my practices, if your fist is not closed, if you're not putting your fist like this, like you're not gonna spar with me, you're not gonna train with me. So like that's just a mentality that you either need to start training the right way, or change your whole training, or change your techniques. But that was your fault. It wasn't my fault.
What was that night like for you when I don't know if maybe you were in the hospital or possibly you were back at the hotel by then, but you're seeing the press conference, you're seeing the interviews that he's doing where he's saying the fight was going my way. I have no interest in Belal. I deserve a title shot. Where were you when you saw that, and what was your reaction to it?
I was literally in the hospital probably for like 3 hours, because I got there and then the UFC said, well, we're gonna get you in there quick and get it, try to get you going right away. But I got there and there was literally like stab victim that came in like 2 minutes after me, and I was like, after my life, because I knew it was about to take a minute. And then my brother went with me, and they wouldn't let him in because the whole COVID thing. So I was just like sitting there bored. And then after like an hour, they finally gave me the phone. And I was just sitting back there. And I'm sitting there. He's acting like he won a fight off of one round, and I'm sitting there like, "Are you serious right now?" Like we literally, our mindset going into that fight was, uh, "We're gonna go slow the first round, see what he's gonna come. We haven't seen him in 2 years. Relax. He's seen us come out hard the last fight, so we're not gonna put the pressure on right away, because he's just seen us do that, and this is a 5 round fight. So we'll see what he brings to the table." And like I said, that was what hurts most, just because we didn't even get the fight started. Uh, he landed a head kick, and then he tried to wrestle me right away. But I controlled the clinch. I controlled the wrestling part. I reversed both wrestling situations. And I felt like I was a lot stronger than him after feeling him. So like I wasn't worried about it. And like I said, you could go into our corner, see our corner, if there was anybody getting scared or anything like that. We're just like, all right, well, we felt it. Now this is where we turn it up. Um, but yeah, just like hearing him talk like that, and I'm like, bro, the fight was just a no contest right now. You're acting like, oh, I deserve the title shot next. I deserve this. I deserve that. As I said, this guy's entitled, and he feels like he deserves all these things, but he doesn't want to put the work in to get those things. And that's why I feel like people don't really like him. And that's why the fans aren't gravitating toward him, just because his attitude and his mindset.
Are you pretty optimistic that one way or another, whether it's Leon or someone else, that your stock is still higher than what it was, right? Like what it was a month ago. I mean, coming off of that win over Diego Lima, do you feel like at the end of the day, obviously this didn't go how you wanted at all, but do you feel like you're still comfortable in your spot, like you're happy that you took it, and that again, not the way it played out, but it was a positive for you as a net positive, I suppose.
I mean, in the end, I feel like a lot more people know who I am now. Like I gained probably like 50,000 followers from that fight, uh, from that week. And I'm sitting there. That's what I was telling this guy too, where it's like I did a lot of the interviews. I pushed the fight. A lot of people. I gained 50,000 followers. He probably gained like 8, and I feel like people were tuning in to watch me. People were tuning in to see what I was gonna do in that fight. So I feel like I gained a lot from this week, and showing the UFC that I'll take a fight on 3 weeks' notice. I'll take a main event, and that I could belong in a main event spot. Like I said, the spotlight didn't affect me. The spotlight didn't scare me at all. And like I showed him, I did all the extra media. I did on 3 weeks notice. I had to come out a week early with my team for the press conference that ended up getting canceled. But like, I didn't complain about anything. I did everything they needed me to do. I did everything they asked me to do, even though it was still a super short notice fight, and I still needed to train for that fight. But I did all the work. So I just hope that they see that now and they push me more.
Just two more things for you, Belal, and then we'll let you go. When you have been through a situation in which you're literally lying on the octagon floor and you're worried that you're blind, will that give you any pause moving forward or any fear? Because I mean, you have a forward type style. I mean, I just feel like going through a traumatic sort of experience like that. Do you think it's going to have any type of impact on you mentally, or just when you're out there the next time?
Honestly, the only thing would be just like if I see a guy with his fingers out, like right, like if I see me like moving forward and I see him that type of style where their fingers are out right away, I'm literally gonna just look at the ref and be like, "Yo, get his fingers, get his fingers, get his fingers," because I'm one of those guys where it's like I see a lot of things that go on in the cage. I understand a lot of things that are going on in the cage. I'm not like one of those where I only see red. I only see red. I don't have time to think or anything like that. So like if I see somebody doing that, I'm literally gonna tell the ref like, "Yo, watch his fingers." But like the biggest message I got was from Anthony Rumble Johnson. He messaged me and he told me that how the same exact thing happened to him on Spike TV, and he's like, "Bro, I thought I was blind. I had blood trickling down my eye, but he said, just remember this moment, trust this moment. I'm telling you, you're gonna grow from this moment," and that meant a lot coming from him.
Yeah, that's cool. And then, of course, anytime that this happens and I poke, we get, especially one of this nature, of course, we start to have conversations about like, is there any way to fix it? And the glove comes up and the curve glove and all of that. As the guy who was in there and had it happen to him, what is your take on all of that?
Yeah, I mean, there's always gonna be ways to change the thing, but like I said, the biggest way is just to train different, to train better. It all comes down to technique. Like I mean, obviously there's like reflexes where you put it out there and it happens that way, but like from the way he did it, it was more so the way he's training. Obviously, I think he's training more so probably with like bigger gloves, because when you're sticking your hand out like that's because you have 16-ounce gloves on and your
Mhm.
fingers sometimes you're not worried about your fingers, but guys need to start training in smaller MMA gloves, training smarter, and realizing it's 90% of it's just from bad technique and uh bad technique that comes from just bigger gloves. Like your MMA fighter, your fingers are out of your gloves. So if you're doing it during training, obviously you're not poking people a million times during training. Or if you are, it's like you really need to change something else. But obviously there's a curved glove, but I don't think that's gonna happen. But the biggest thing is now just close your fist, keep your fist closed. And I feel like refs need to like right away, no warning, just take a point away right
Mhm.
away, and that'll stop guys from doing that. Like you're gonna, well, you like you saw with the Peter Yan illegal knee thing, stuff like that. Like you get DQ'd, that you get penalized like that,
Yeah.
and that's gonna stop guys from even thinking about doing that. So like just that finger, you take a point right away. If the ref sees it, then that's gonna get you thinking, oh man, that's gonna get everybody else afraid and not want to do that anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. Makes sense. I mean, the consequence should be there because the alternative is a scary thing, like you experienced. So we
Exactly,
appreciate
like you
it,
said,
man.
like I could sit there and go blind right now, and what would it be? He would still be sitting there calling for a title fight,
Mm,
and my career could literally be over off of a freaking accidental poke.
no. Well, we're glad it's not, man. So happy to hear that the eye is not, it's not long-term damage, and continue to hope the recovery goes well. And looking forward to seeing what's next, man. I enjoyed watching you in your first main event, man. Looking forward to the next one.
Thanks, bro.
All right, take care, Bilal.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN Plus.